Hi, my name is David Caldwell, and I'm presenting Fab number 12. Fab 12 is about identifying and evaluating competitors. The first step to Fab 12 is to ask yourself 3 questions. First, who are your competitors? Second, what are their strengths and weaknesses? And third, how can you differentiate your offerings from theirs? The first part is understanding who you compete against. This could be anyone that you currently compete against, but it also can be those competitors that are entering the market. Before you can effectively evaluate your company against the competition, you have to know who you really are. The best way to do this is through a SWOT analysis and to review the 5 forces model. The SWOT analysis is a useful technique to understand your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. SWOT analysis is broken into segments, those with an internal origin, which are attributes of the organization, and those with external origins that have to do with the business environment. The other 2 segments are those that are helpful to achieve your objective, strengths and opportunities, and those that are harmful, weaknesses and threats. The best way to do this evaluation is to get as many employees as reasonable involved so you can get multiple perspectives. What I've done in the past is give everyone 4 different colored sticky notes and give them 5 minutes to quietly write their opinions for each category on a sticky note. This allows people to be anonymous so you get honest opinions. It is critical to get honest feedback, and most people won't openly share their opinions with their supervisors in the same room.
At the end of the 5 minutes, one person compiles all of the sticky notes and organizes them into the different categories. Typically, there are multiple of the same comment on each letter, which means that they are widely accepted as strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, or threats. Once we reviewed everyone's comments, we prioritize them based on the quantity of similar responses. This gives the company a strong sense of people's honest opinions. For strengths, you have to ask yourself, what are you good at? What do customers think you're good at, and what makes you unique? For weaknesses, what can you improve on? What do customers think you need to improve on, and what do you need to stop doing? For opportunities, what are some market trends that we need to be aware of? What are some changes in technology that we need to consider? And are there any new upcoming markets that are poised for growth? For threats, what are you doing or what are you not doing that could potentially hurt your company? Are there any political or economic events you need to consider? And what are your competitors doing that affect your chances of making a sale?
Another factor to consider when evaluating the competition is Porter's 5 forces concept. This concept was developed to evaluate the overall level of competitive intensity of an industry through the 5 different forces. This concept can help you lay out a plan for dealing with external segment of the SWOT analysis. This can be especially useful when considering entering a new industry and determining how likely you are to succeed. You have to consider the threat of new entrants. Profitable industries will always attract new firms. Unless the entry of new firms can be made more difficult by existing companies, profitability across the industry will be reduced. This is evident in the booming local construction industry where companies from other cities are coming to Greenville to get a piece of the local growth. Also have to consider threat of substitutions. Customers may choose to substitute your product or service for another. This is not the same thing as switching to a different company to use the same product, but switching products entirely. For example, switching from a fluorescent light fixture to an LED fixture without light bulbs. The more products that continue to appear, the higher the chances your customers will be drawn to an alternative. Also have to consider the bargaining power of customers. When the customers themselves have power, they can apply pressure to companies to lower their prices. If the buyer has many choices of the products and companies, then their power is high. For example, in the construction industry, customers have access to multiple online distributors of materials like light fixtures. They may not always be comparable products, but owners often reference these online dealers to negotiate material prices with contractors. Bargaining power of suppliers also plays a big part. We all have suppliers, whether it's raw materials, knowledge, support, or physical labor. The fewer suppliers there are, the more power they have over you and the prices they charge. Subcontractors and suppliers in the local construction industry are another example. There's a skilled labor shortage and some material shortages which drive prices up. Then the competitive rivalry. All of these forces play a major role on the overall competition of a specific industry. Businesses must be aware of its competitors' marketing strategy and pricing as well as prepare for future changes. After you define who your competitors are and what your internal and external forces are, you can then clearly define a strategy to differentiate yourself from the competition.